Everyone has a good story to tell, and you know it is a good story when the person leans in and says, "See, what had happened was," and then tells the story.
This podcast provides those opportunities to tell those types of stories in education. The stories will be from the good, the bad, and everything in between. We wanted to do this podcast to showcase stories in education and to give flowers to educators who deserve recognition for their excellence.
Our guests will feature parents, students, teachers, administrators, and just about anyone who is involved in education. These stories will inspire you, challenge you, and help you to reflect on your practice of education, whether it be from the inside of the classroom or outside.
If you have a good story to tell, we'd love to hear it. Email us at contact@andredowty.org. We'd love to have you or your story on a future episode. See What Had Happened starts now. Welcome to See What Had Happened. We're your co-hosts, Danielle and Andre Daughty. If this is your first episode tuning in, thanks for dropping by.
Absolutely.
We've got several episodes for you to laugh and listen to. And there are exciting stories.
Yes.
From the good, the bad, and everything in between.
Yeah.
If you've been following along and are friends of the podcast, welcome back.
Hey.
You're officially a part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we have a special guest joining in on the fun, Ms. Kellye Johnson.
What's up, Kellye? How you doing?
Hey, how are y'all? I'm doing well.
Oh, yeah, we're doing well over here. We know who you are, and we know your spirit of entrepreneurship. But just in case for our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I am Kellye Johnson, lovingly known as Kells. I have been on an entrepreneurship journey since about officially maybe 2012.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I have several businesses. I have Curvy Kitten Clothing. I have KJ Financial, which is a business consulting firm. I am also a part owner of Bob's Gas Station. We are in the process now in the last stages of opening Bob's Dispensary.
Come on now.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah.
I am still part of a podcast team. I took a little hiatus because of all the other things, the scoop. And I am on several committees to help grow entrepreneurship. And I also have a full-time job. I'm actually as a supportive services coordinator for disadvantaged business enterprises all over the state of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So I am well embedded into the entrepreneur category now.
I love that you are helping others. It's not just you building wealth for yourself and for your team, your crew, your family, but you're like, here's a blueprint. Others, let me help you. Yeah. That is so dope, Kellye. Yeah. So this is how our story goes. Anytime we have friends of the family on the podcast here, we just set up that story first because we know that the story is going to be good. And so let's set up this story here. The story you're going to share, is this from you as a student's perspective, or is this from you when you were working in the educational field?
I probably do a little bit of both, but okay. I would start off with the story of me as being a student. Because I feel like a lot of the confidence and spirit that I have as an entrepreneur came from my college experience. Mm-hmm. And so I did graduate from Langston University.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, L's up. And a funny story I'd like to mention first is about being a student worker. Even as a student worker, I started out as working in the cafeteria, just, applied. And then as I was going through my studies, I met several instructors that I built a relationship with and had an opportunity to work for the cooperative extension at Langston University. And one funny story I remember is as a high school student, I didn't take Spanish like most people did. I took French.
Okay.
Interesting fact, a lot of our constituents and instructors and researchers in cooperative extension were of African descent. Mm-hmm. And one of the main languages in Africa is French. Mm-hmm. And so it was so funny. I would catch phrases. I became at cooperative extension, it was GOAT research, but one of the pieces was being a part of the team to go over any grants that were written. So I'm basically a reviewer of the grants and hearing the conversations of the researchers in French. And I would pick up things. So,
hold on, wait. Let's just pause right there. This reminds me of when you go to a store that speaks a different language, and you hear them muttering a language, and it is something unfamiliar to you. You were actually picking up what they were saying.
Yes. And so I was like, I did like French. I'm like, I guess some things stuck. So when they would get frustrated and they would say things like, I know one phrase I remember is "zut allons," and that's like "gee damn it" in our language. And so when these researchers and things, they would get together and write these grants. Yes, there was a lot of explicatives.
Wow. And they didn't think that you knew.
Yeah. So I would remember going into my supervisor's office, Mrs. Flossie Thurston, and I would slam that door and I would just crack up laughing because of all of these, these intelligent people. And I'm like, they still get frustrated just like we do in college, even though they're, big time researchers. They're so smart, but there were still things that they would miss, and they would be, so upset when I would take all these red markings to their offices, and then I would hear them talking in their language.
So did they ever divulge to you, or did you divulge to them that you knew French?
Yes, like I think probably my senior year. So after 3 years of that, and it happened that we used to have this go researcher day. And so they would have, people from all over the world would come, and they would try to get me to try things. And one of the things they wanted me to try was, I believe it was goat milk and goat cheese. Mm-hmm. And just to tickle them, when I tried it, I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh, zut allons," I said it to them, and they were like looking at me like, "Do you speak French?"
You outed them.
I don't speak it, but I understand it. Mm-hmm. And so we just always laughed. And so after that, they would just like, they would say it and tell me, different little funny sayings in French. They really helped me to lighten up when it came to work. After they knew I understood the language, we just had a very special bond after that. And I got to meet a lot of interesting people that didn't speak my language around the world. They were always comfortable with me meeting, someone new or giving someone a tour of Langston, because I could adapt.
All right, Kellye. Now you said you had another story.
Okay.
Tell us what had happened.
A story from the other end, as being an adjunct teacher, which I didn't mention before, but I was an adjunct. I have become an adjunct teacher. I haven't taught this in the last year, but when I first started teaching, one of the classes I taught was personal finance. And so, of course, personal finance leads you to all kinds of finance questions. Mm-hmm. And I had one class was a team of basketball players. And I'd seen these students. I worked in financial aid, so I saw every student. They knew who I was. And then when they learned that I was an entrepreneur, like they begin like stalking me on Facebook, or any kind of social media, because I usually don't allow students to, I don't befriend them or follow them on social media unless they graduate out of the class. So one funny story, a couple of students, they were juniors, so I taught for 4 semesters. So I taught the last, some of them the last 4 semesters in personal finance and accounting. And I had a couple of young men actually take up their entrepreneur dreams. They worked full time, and just based on the stories that I told them, they were able to, work full time and follow their dreams. Okay. So that was more of a touching story, not really a funny one, but just seeing these young Black men, when they first came into my class, their dream was to be professional basketball players. The Thunder was still kind of hot, and they were like, I could be a walk-on, I could stay in Oklahoma, I could play pro ball. And after our conversations and talking to them outside of class and seeing their passions for other things, I think one has become a promoter now out of Texas. He's an accountant and a promoter. Okay. Wow. Another young man had an idea for T-shirt designs, not even knowing that I had a clothing line. And so I, laid out the products he can purchase to start out at home, from, arts and crafts to making his own shirts. And I believe he has his own shirt line. I don't know if he's taken the business to where he's printing other T-shirts, but he bought the equipment and he sent me a picture and he's like, "Can I be your social media friend now?" I'm like, "I don't know." Wait, I'm proud of you, but let's wait a couple
Yeah, we're not there yet, homie. We're not there yet, man. We're not there. Yeah. I'm glad of what you're doing, but homie, nah.
Yeah. Well, Kellye, since you were talking about your clothing line, can you go ahead and tell us more about that?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, my clothing line is Curvy Kitten Clothing. It did start out as a plus size clothing line, but I've expanded to servicing all sizes now. There was, plenty of women who had, thought they were too small to wear certain types of clothing. So I said, well, let's just look at things from that spectrum too. I have a sister that is petite and has problems finding things. So we do have a spinoff line coming called Petites. That will focus on women that are smaller.
Come on, Kellye. Yeah.
just in honor of my sisters, and we're all shapes and sizes. So I, hope to have a whole slew of kittens to, help women in different shapes and sizes that can't really find comfortable and just casual clothing just because their measurements aren't standard.
Mm-hmm. And I think that makes such a big difference, because oftentimes you're only leaning either one way on this spectrum of, man, there's nothing in my size because my size is a little bigger than the norm. And then on the other end, there are people who are like, all of these clothes look cute, but they don't fit my size. I want cute and I'm a size 2, or I want cute and I'm a size whatever. And so I like that you're addressing both of those. Mm-hmm. Come on now.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been I love it. I've always been kind of a fashionista in my head. So this gives me an outlet to not only look for different designs, but kind of, dibble and dabble. I've learned how to sew. Mm-hmm. I still don't sew my own designs yet, but it has really widened my knowledge of clothing, textures, just different spaces that our community can get into fashion. There's a plethora of things we don't think about as far as manufacturing, being a broker. Just there's different things that we can touch.
So here's a question for you with that. Since you have that entrepreneurship and that background, and you've been in the business, and how are you using what you learned in school with the businesses to help elevate your clothing line now?
One thing that I use all the time, my master's is actually in business. It's the Master's of Business Administration, and I pull knowledge from classes, from old textbooks all the time when it comes to structuring, filing taxes, even how to know, your business model, operating agreements, things like that we learned so long ago. And we're like, are we ever going to use this? Yes. I actually use different lessons. I go back and look at notes and things all the time, from writing a business plan all the way to filing my taxes. I have pulled from business classes.
That's interesting, because oftentimes you hear people say, man, I went to college to get XYZ degree and I never use those textbooks again, or those textbooks are inside of your libraries and dust is all over everywhere, and you're like, nah, this still works.
Yep. You can search things. I mean, having it in black and white, even if you remember things, but it's a little fuzzy, and you don't even realize that you learned that in the 90s in college. You know what this is. So just going back and looking at it, and you're like, oh, I can do this. I don't have to pay someone else to do all of my business documents if I just pull back, from the source, from the researcher, from your college degree. Reach back and grab it.
Yeah, I just felt a little old right there, Kellye.
Sorry.
Say more.
The 90s in college. Oh.
I did data.
Man. Some of the best educators in the world are people you've never heard of. They may not be on TV or get the National Teacher of the Year awards, but we want to give those teachers their flowers today. With that said, we present Sprout Outs. Sprout Outs is sponsored by Pinky and Paws Petals. All right, so Kellye, we like to do Sprout Outs on See What Had Happened. Who is someone that you would like to sprout out for this episode?
I want to sprout out a woman named Mrs. Jen Wright. I can't think of her first name right now, but she was a teacher back in my hometown of Liberal, Kansas. I was in the 3rd grade, and she was a new teacher, new to the city. And we were predominantly, white town. So she made headlines. And she was a larger woman, and she was tall, and she was the first, larger, darker skinned woman that I saw that was just fabulous. She was, she had the nails, she had long flowing hair, she was dressed to the nines, and she was, she was very intelligent, but she was still loud and fun. Mm-hmm. So like one of the things that she used to do with us in the morning is we would sing two of her favorite songs. We would sing La Bamba and we would sing Superwoman.
Wait.
Superwoman by was it Karen White?
Karen White, Superwoman.
Yeah, Superwoman by Karen White.
Come on now.
We sing those two songs in the morning, and she would tell us, because the class was, we had several students that were Hispanic and Black, but it was predominantly white school. And so she would explain to us that you can learn all types of music, all kinds of languages and things like that. And I think I just looked up to her. My parents would even let me spend the night with her sometimes.
Wow.
She just really instilled some confidence in me that I know I carry today. Mm-hmm. Some of the things I do, I know I got from Miss Jen Wright. And just, walking tall, walking proud. I don't care how big you are, you walk in that room and command it. Mm-hmm. You can be the biggest person in there and still have the smallest personality. So she was always like, let your personality match your size. The bigger you get, the bigger your personality should be. And I think she just really, really changed how I thought about myself. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, this is someone who looks like me, who was just doing it.
That reminds me of like how representation truly, really matters.
It does.
When you can see someone that looks like you, or maybe the same color as you, or maybe the same height, waist size, whatever, but just seeing someone and you're saying, that I kind of look like that. And making such of a big difference. Mm-hmm. To the point that your parents allowed you to spend the night. Like, that does not happen.
Not these days, at least.
Not at all. That is dope.
Really, she was a special lady, and she left after a while. I mean, she made a lot of noise, though. I think she really did change the way education was for people who were minorities. Mm-hmm. Good for her. Way back then. Yeah.
So give us her name again.
Mrs. Jen Wright.
Jen Wright. Mrs. Jen Wright and any of the family of Mrs. Jen Wright. Shout out. Sprout out to you all.
Yes. We believe when one wins, we all win. Kellye, how can others follow you on social media?
So you can follow me at Curvy Kitten Clothing on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also follow Bob Shamrock, that is the gas station, on Facebook and Instagram. Personally, my speaking name is K Simone, so you can follow K Simone on Instagram and Facebook as well. Mm-hmm. If you see Kells, K Simone, or Curvy Kitten, you can find me.
Okay.
It's not like you only have just one online. I mean, you got everything. Yeah, we here. Absolutely, we here. And
so I don't think I mentioned it, but www.curvykittens.com is the website. Mm-hmm. Curvy Kitten. So me and all my projects kind of link to the website. So you can always just go to that website.
Amazing. And if there was someone who wanted some financial coaching from you, is there a way that they could get in contact?
Yes, actually go through the KJ Financial page on Facebook, but also any other avenues. If you mention that you are needing some assistance or bookkeeping or any financial help, you can inbox me through any social media platform, and I will get back to you as I can.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, perfect. Let's go, Kel.
Man,
let's go. If you have a story you'd like to share, just like Kellye did, you can email us at contact@andredowdy.org. We'd love to hear your story and share it on the show. Now, if you are shy and you don't want to be in front of the camera to share it with us, still email us. We'll read your story and then we'll talk about it in a future episode. Well, you've reached the end of yet another great episode, and that story was dope. Both of those stories, from student all the way through as teacher, really dope. And I can see how Kellye is now such a great entrepreneur because she's had a lot of practice and networking.
Yes.
Yeah. Several different ways you can connect with us on See What Had Happened. You can connect with us on YouTube. You'll see the picture live, just like this. Or if you have any of the podcasting sites, we're on all of them. So you can find us there as well. Don't forget to join us on the next episode of See What Had Happened.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. You can find out more at teachbetter.com/podcast.